It's insane. We could get in a lot of trouble.
But not if nobody finds out. Look, John. We sneak into his house, jerk him off in his sleep, and sneak out with the sperm. It'll be easy. Think how awesome the baby will be.
They're, of course, talking about sneaking into someone's house to get sperm to make the baby. Because Flash Gordon said no. Which is probably why he let his frustration out on the poor car. That's exactly what happened. So, Plan B requires going into the house and shutting off the power, thus causing the fan to go on, thus causing the householder to open up his window, thus they sneak in and thus try to steal the sperm. Yeah, they're definitely going to hell. Now, you're not going to believe whose fancy mansion this whole is belonging to. Since we are in Boston, after all, it is the home of Tom Brady. How could this movie possibly bomb when you have Tom Brady for a cameo? So the plan is in motion. They go in, they try and get the sperm, they live happily ever after, and even in this movie, Tom Brady will kick your fucking ass. Let this be a lesson to you, to anyone in the league. Never mess with Tom Brady. Whether in the league or in the movies. He will dominate and get to the Hall of Fame. He probably had the best moment in this goddamn movie, which is a bomb-atrocious waste of time.
What are you talking about?
For the sperm.
You're telling me you could have gotten to him this whole fucking time? Thus saving the trouble of not having to chuck Flash Gordon's car and having sneak into Tom Brady's mansion. Again, what was the point of all that? Okay, I'm sorry. With all due respect to Tom Brady, because he was great. And in his moment, he was great. Unfortunately, his moment was pointless. And we kind of don't really talk about it again. Big League Alligator moment! Big League Alligator moment!
Just so you know, I'm totally willing to do it. Really?
Oh, they run into a little snag when they realize... Yeah, it turns out... Well, there's that little snag, but that's not the snag I'm referring to. I am, of course, referring to the fact that Ted is technically not human. Which we already knew about! He's an inanimate object! So, of course, the rest of this movie is devoted to...
They denied you the same rights as everybody else.
Are you fucking kidding me? You hire an attorney who's fucking... into...
So what do you say? Can you get me my life back?
Well, there's a fucking shocker right there. Hell, Willie would fit right into this fucking movie.
Hey, guys.
For the rest of the movie, they have to fight their way to prove that Ted is in fact a fucking person and not just an inanimate object.
It's okay, buddy. It's okay.
And that he can express real feelings. There is one person that's going to try and get in the way of that, of course. Outside of the fine folks of Hasbro. You remember the stalker from the first movie that wanted to take Ted and give him to his little kid? Well, we have this little case going on, which obviously the ruling is plain and obvious. Of course he's going to be rule property, which he is. So now they have to go to some other attorney to try and appeal this ruling. Which requires a travel and... cue planes, trains, and automobile moment, because everyone else has done it. Yeah, this is why you never let Ted drive the goddamn fucking car. Turns into a planes, trains, and automobile moment. Which eventually leads to Morgan Freeman's appearance. After this odd moment. Okay, why do we need to prove that she's a legit singer outside of being a moving up attorney? Again, big lipped alligator moment. Big lipped alligator moment. And trust me, there's a lot of this in this fucking movie.
Oh, you're the idiots, because you three guys would never be walking together. Yeah, you're his boss, and you two guys...
Morgan Freeman said no, and thus they have to go to a convention somehow. Why do they need to go to a fucking convention? I have no fucking clue. But hey, Darth Vader and the Stormtrooper and some Obi-Wan nabi.
That's what affect the public directly. And unfortunately, the public doesn't judge by reason.
Morgan Freeman, ladies and
By
gentlemen.
emotion. And you can't appeal an emotional conviction. Nonetheless, I wish you all the best.
He's proving that you can't appeal an emotional conviction. At least he played his part pretty well. I just feel bad he got sucked into this meaningless, pointless movie.
Not who I hoped you'd
So eventually they walk out and go to some convention. Somehow, some way, they're dragged into a convention.
Where are you? We were looking everywhere for you. I'm at Comic-Con, but John, it's Donnie. He's here.
That's right.
You gotta get over here. What the fuck? Did you just say Donnie?
Sean, what's going on?
Donnie the Stalker has made a return. There he is, ladies and gentlemen. At least he upgraded in hairstyle, and hey, he looks exactly like one of the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
We gotta get to Comic-Con. Come on.
His plan is to sell tan and make millions and millions and millions of dollars, and they almost got away with it. If it weren't for those meddling kids. But first, Patrick Warburton in a tick costume with his boyfriend. They pretty much imprison him in the handyman's secret weapon. Because remember, if the woman don't find you handsome, they should at least find you handy.
Son of a bitch, this is kidnapping.
No, it's not.
Yeah, because technically there are no kids involved in this napping. This is bear napping. So, for once I have to agree with the stalker, who eventually gets caught.
We want to be together. Nothing would make me happier.
Oh, buddy, I love you for that.
Thanks, Ted.
Of course,
It means a lot.
they're reuniting. Why are they reuniting? Because apparently Ted was jealous that those two were wasting time being together and having a lovey-dovey moment when Ted was trying to convince John to get back on his feet in the first place. Now he's jealous because those two are getting together when they're the only two that can help him reclaim his life. Why did we need this plot?
And for what it's worth, as far as I'm concerned, you're a
Great, they have the lovey-dovey moment and you're not going to believe what happens in this scene.
Play this Where's Waldo shit, you son of a bitch.
That's right. The stalker cuts down the spaceship from Star Trek, was about to take out Ted. John risks his life to save him, and a monitor lands on his legs, thus decapitating him.
Sam, give me your phone.
He then disguises himself with the other mutant turtles to try and figure out which one is the stalker, because he was caught with this same game. Why this fucking song? I have no clue. Oh my god.
That's him.
Yeah, that was so fucking obvious because any stalker who makes a creepy move like that is clearly the one amongst the turtles. And it's clearly not one or the other. At least they figured it out by the time they finished that song. So now they have to go to the hospital where John is fighting for his life. And dies. And trust me, there will be no magic star wishing this time to bring him back to life. Only one teeny tiny problem. How does he come back to life?
Oh, you think this shit?
Holy shit. Your own life saved mine.
Everyone's walking around him mourning what looks like a tragic loss. It's so sad, it's emotional, it's a sad way to end this waste of a movie.
How my life worked without you.
It's so tragic. I don't know how they could possibly end this movie this way if they're not going to bring him back. How the fuck did he get back to life? That's impossible! His heartbeat was dead!
That was fucking classic. Wait. This is payback because I made you think that I was retired. Oh, well done. Well done, man.
This is the most ridiculous moment in the history of moments! And quite frankly, I don't blame her for going off like that!
Blue ribbon. You are the fucking greatest, man. Holy shit. Wait, how was the...
And the Oscar for dramatic scene goes to Mark Wahlberg.
No problem. We're a fun hospital.
No, you're not! What kind of fun hospital allows patients to do this kind of shit?
as the emancipation.
So obviously we get to Morgan Freeman seeing this and is convinced otherwise to run this case. And of course they overrule the ruling, allowing Ted to be free as a human being of sorts. And everybody lives happily ever after. I think.
You guys can do all kinds of drugs together.
They make a baby. Yes, they live happily ever after. They make a baby. They get a little Ted toy.
Teddy, it's your turn to change it.
Ah, yeah, no problem.
Except the problem is,
Fuck me!
What's the matter?
That can't be normal. He's gotta be sick.
He's not sick. It's just baby duty.
yeah, there's nothing wrong with baby duty.
No. All right, here, catch. Oh, Daddy, what the fuck? Oh, shit! Oh, you motherfucker!
That's how the movie ends.
Shit happens.
Yep. That's how the movie ends. And seeing as how we just got past Oscar season, the award for most pointless movie goes to... drumroll. Take Two, Mama! Thank you. I'd like to thank Willie B. a Hobo for announcing the winner of the most pointless sequel in the history of sequels. Why did you need a Ted 2 again? I mean, don't get me wrong. The plot is decent, but again, you don't need a Ted 2. You could have finished it off with Ted. It was so happy. And thus, I am dubbing this movie a big-lipped alligator movie. Big-lipped alligator movie! And leaving it at that. I'm the CommanderZander. I remember it so that it sounds great now do it. Neither should you.